How do you know if you're doing manifesting right? That's exactly what we're talking about today on the podcast. Special news. Previously it was called the Manifesting Guide, but now it's called Mindful Manifesting. So I can bring in more of my mindfulness tips so it makes manifesting easier for you. Now, before we get started, would you like to create future possibilities without force or frustration? You can get your free guide at highertrueself.com/freebies, and the link will be in the show notes. So we're going to be talking about Mindful Manifesting Success Roadmap today. This is Ariana Rollins, and this is episode 68. Now, there are certain indications, there are signs that you're on track, and I'm sure you know what I mean. If you're following the path of manifesting and you are aware of synchronicities and maybe you look for signs or you're just highly intuitive, then you know at an unconscious level or even conscious level, intuitive level, when you're on track and you know when you're not. But what happens if you have an experience and that causes you to stop trusting yourself? You start believing in the outside world more than you believe your intuition. I've gone through that, and boy, it was painful. It was, and I'll do a podcast especially on that. It was over 10 years of such an unusual kind of mind flipping experience where I went into it very confident, trusting myself, so sure of what intuitively would come through me. I trusted immediately, to wondering everything. So having a success roadmap can really help us, because it's like you're traveling and you want to know, what are the road marks? Do I take this highway? Do I take this one? Where am I going to stop along the way? What should I expect? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to give you an overview, and then we're going to go into detail of each phase. So as I see it currently, because I'm always refining and changing and evolving the more that I learn and grow on this path of manifesting, is there are 5 phases to the Mindful Manifesting Success Roadmap. Phase 1 is pushing and forcing using willpower or being stuck in status quo. And then phase 2 is frustrated and frantic, taking random action and not succeeding. Phase 3 is letting go of control. And this is where, might I say, we've got a little surrender going on, necessary as that is. Phase 4, manifestation momentum, clearing the blocks to receiving. Phase 5, inspired action and results, manifesting with grace and ease. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I want to live in phase 5, inspired action and results, and that feeling of manifesting with grace and ease. We're going to go into more detail of each phase. I'll have a podcast for each one, but I want to give you an overview of the journey. So we're at a time on the planet where we are recognizing that our way of getting things done is hurting not only ourselves, but the planet. It's almost like we were trained to have blinders and to not pay attention to those moments of, oh, this isn't feeling good. Ooh, that conversation, my stomach's turning over. And we just ignore it and we just muscle through. Especially people who are driven, they're determined, maybe they want to bring something big to the world, or that they have a high spiritual path and they have realized that the world is definitely off track and not supporting spirituality and seems to be focused on material, ambitions. So wherever you find yourself on that journey, you might either go along and just accept there's nothing you can do, this is the way the world is, or you are pushing and forcing yourself to make changes in your life. And if you're doing that from a type A personality versus a type B, which is more passive, my goodness, we need both, then what can happen is you can start to get health issues. You can start to break down relationships because you've got such a strong sense of leadership and you know this is the way, or you become passive and you end up living a life that doesn't feel like yours. So recognizing where you are in your manifesting journey, because we are manifesting every day, whether we are conscious of it or not, our thoughts are sending signals out there, and then we're responding emotionally to what's coming back from life. And if it's a wonderful manifestation, then we're in gratitude and we're in joy. But if we're in a negative manifesting mode, we'll talk more about these phases as I go through this, then we can get frustrated, we can get discouraged, we can give up. And that's the last thing that I want for you. I want you to be so inspired in that phase 5, which is inspired action and results, manifesting with grace and ease, so that you become a lighthouse, a role model, a something or someone who reflects brilliance. And that doesn't mean you have to be like super genius, but there's an authenticity and your light is shining. So at the moment of this recording of this podcast, we have entered into the astrological sign where the sun is moved into different signs called Leo. And one of my hobbies is understanding astrology from this specific way, is to understand myself, to understand my clients better, to help recognize things that are patterns that are self-defeating. We can see it in our natal chart. I do not do astrology for predictions and following anything like that. I use it as a brilliant self-reflection tool. I will, if you're interested in astrology, give you a warning. If you go to an astrologer for a reading, you may find yourself, if the subject is new to you, believing that astrologer more than you believe yourself. No. That's giving your power away. And so using astrology in the quiet of your own mind and your own self is to reflect. Is this helpful? Is this giving me an insight? If not, toss it. Toss it. So back to Leo. Now, Leo, at this phase of our journey through the year, starts around July 21st or so, runs through August. And Leo reflects the sun. So people who are born with their sun sign in Leo, they can be natural leaders. They can be the king and queen. But on the other flip side is they can have a little bit of an arrogance, an ego that can develop, that, going back to what I was speaking about before, kind of I knew the way. Yeah, we can kind of run over people. But if you think about Leo as the sun is naturally warming. And without the sun, we can't grow food. But the sun can be too strong, especially I'm in Austin, Texas. At this time of year, everything's dry, everything's crunchy, the grass, unless you're watering it, and the plants are almost like gasping for breath. That's Leo on the harsh side. It's too much. It's too much about me, too much strong projection. Versus when we have a nice balance, we've got a little bit of cloudy days, a little bit of rain, nourishing the plants, and then we've got the sun beaming out its brilliance and its warmth. Leo people, or also if you've ever studied Leo North Node astrology, the North Node is really where I love to guide people. And I'll do a podcast specifically on the nodes, super helpful as a self-reflective tool, is that you want to bring out the love and the warmth in others. It's like playing with a puppy. It brings great joy to people. Or being around a newborn baby. You just find yourself, your heart's open, you're smiling, and that is a way that indicates we're on track. Now, doesn't matter if you were born at this time or you have the Leo North Node, we all have influences. We go through the cycles of the year. We go through these different months, and there's a different energy. So, wrapping up that kind of little Leo North Node is looking at your mindful manifesting success roadmap is just checking in. How are you feeling? Are you on track? Are you listening to your intuition? Leo North Node and Leo at this time of year, we should be listening to ourselves. We should be having that brilliant, beautiful confidence and growing ourselves, because look at where the gardens are in the Western Hemisphere. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, the gardens blossom during this year. At that time of year, we were supposed to be blossoming. And so look at that and start to notice your manifestations. Are you nurturing them? Your intentions, are you giving them enough attention, watering? Are you focusing on where you're going? Let's look at that Leo, that lion, because they're confident, they're strong. Lions are the rulers, well, maybe not the rulers, but kind of they're the king of the jungle, right? Or the king of the safari. They have that booming, confident voice. So mindful manifesting success roadmap is just knowing where you are on the journey. And I'm going to recap the different phases. And again, I'm going to be doing one on every single phase so you can start to recognize where you're at. And I'll give you some action tips and some suggestions to develop yourself and further your progress on the mindful manifesting success roadmap. So phase 1, remember, pushing and forcing, using willpower or stuck in status quo. Phase 2, frustrated and frantic, taking random action and not succeeding. Phase 2, letting go of control. Phase 4, manifestation momentum and clearing blocks to receiving. Phase 5, where we all want to be, inspired action and results, manifesting with grace and ease. So as we start to wrap this up, I'd like to give you a little action tip. Take a moment and write down what are your intentions. You could do it just for the day, you can do it for the month, you can do it for the quarter, however it works for you. And I'd like you to get yourself in that place of expansiveness. Your heart is open. You have a feeling that anything is possible. You're not reflecting on past disappointments or failures. You are literally imagining infinite possibilities and your future. This is a wonderful heart-expansive exercise, which is definitely Leo, which is so cool that we're at this time and we're having this conversation. By the way, you can get a future possibilities wish list to help you with that little exercise I just started to talk about. And if you'd like to create future possibilities without force or frustration, you can get your free guide at highertrueself.com/freebies, and I'll put the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for believing enough in yourself and who you are to grow yourself. Expand your consciousness, elevate your manifesting capacities. As you remember, self-confirmation frees you to succeed on your terms. It's Ariana Rollins with Mindful Manifesting Podcast. Thanks for listening.